All right, guys. So I've done a number of lives, and inflation has come up a few times, and people were saying that, price gouging was not an issue. It was just inflation, that these companies wouldn't dare price gouge us. They wouldn't do that. And so what we have here, this was from August 20th, 2024. I believe I did a video on this prior, but if I didn't, here is Kroger executive admits company gouged prices above inflation. This was just about everywhere. And this is because Kroger is trying to acquire Albertsons. They want a monopoly, is what they want. And they're just gobbling up supermarkets. And they keep saying, like, oh, we promise we'll make things fair for everybody. We promise we will keep prices in check. But while testifying to the FTC, they admit that they're price gouging. And it's just, where are all the people that were in my life saying price gouging wasn't a thing? Because they admitted it. And they kept asking, like, who admitted it? Who admitted it? And it was, that's the thing. They knew what they were doing. Now, more specifically, it was on eggs and milk, but that's where the worst of it was, because there were other reports showing that it had been on all items. So let's move on to another item. And then from Insider, we have this article. You can read the headline there, which says Kroger executive reportedly testified that the supermarket giant raised prices of milk and eggs beyond inflation costs. Like, what more do some people need? But then they backtrack. Then another CEO says, "Oh, no. It was due to increased, costs is what it was. It was because of costs." What costs? We all saw videos and saw news articles where farmers were complaining about having a surplus of eggs they couldn't move. Specifically talking about eggs and milk. And then milk was having a problem being moved. They were having to throw milk out because they couldn't get it moved, because these companies didn't want it. They wanted to artificially inflate the cost of stuff to make money. And now they're backtracking. And this CEO is like, oh, no, you can trust me. We'll make prices right. Once we get things where they need to be, we'll be good once we get this merger in place. Hopefully the FTC stops them from this merger, because it's going to be bad for everybody. They're already lying to us, and then they have no problem lying again about the lie they made to try to keep their prices up. And this is what's going to happen. If Kroger owns vast swaths of supermarkets under their umbrella, it's not going to be fair to anyone. I had a lot of people ask me, they were like, well, what does this matter? There's plenty of supermarkets. There's already thousands of them. What does it matter? And it's like, because for some areas, many areas, it'll create an area where only Kroger has ownership. The stores may not be called Kroger. They may be called Albertsons or whatever, but they're going to own the area. You're not going to have a choice to shop anywhere, or your option will be Walmart or Kroger, and that's what it's going to be. And they're not going to really be competitors, right? We know Walmart was responsible for price fixing as well, so why would we trust them as well? This will create an economy where you have no choice in how much your food costs. And no, cheaper options are not always available. So not everybody has the availability to get to an Aldi. I wish they did, but I've seen that come up too. A lot of people have been high and mighty and be like, just go to an Aldi. It's like, that's not an option where I'm at. I can't just run to an Aldi. And even then, that's still not good competition if all we have is one other option. This is not, even in a capitalistic way of doing things, this is not fair to the vast majority of people if you only have one other option. That is not competition, because Kroger will just stay where they're at, and we'll just have Aldi until Aldi raises prices. So hopefully the FTC breaks this up. They do not need to own Albertsons. I know Albertsons is failing. I get that, guys. I get it. But we need to look at why they're failing. Is it something they're doing, or is it because of price fixing like this that's causing an issue? But we definitely need more competition. We are seeing a rise of anti-competition in the United States to a level that really hasn't been around before, as we see stores that are just getting, absorbed by bigger markets, or bigger stores, and being just locked into that. So what are your thoughts on this? I myself hate shopping at Kroger. I don't like the experience. It feels dated. The whole coupon thing is annoying, and I don't like how the registers work there. Just name a few things. I find it to be a very pretentious place that is ridiculous. But anyway, that's just me. What are your thoughts? Do you think they should be allowed to buy it? Why? Do you think they should be blocked? And why do you think that?